We provide opportunities for student agency here. Annika was really capable of rising to the challenge, and there are other students that need a little bit more support, which is absolutely fine, just like all human beings. But everybody has the foundation of agency here. By providing tiered levels of support, students are able to be agentic in their own ways. So whether that looks like being one of our recognised leaders, or whether it's being a leader from behind or beside, or supporting their friends who are leaders, it all stems down into the opportunities for agency, I think. So we have an Enviro Club. We have leaders that run that club, and then there's other students across the school that like to join in. Sophie Hanford is a local counsellor. She led the whole School for Climate Change right from the get-go. And she's an ex-student of ours, and so the Enviro group asked her to come and work with them and help lead them, and so lots of projects sprang out from that. Students, they always come up going, for example, they knew that there was a bit of rubbish around because we instigated the littlest lunches, and so we got rid of the rubbish bins, and so for a very short span of time there was litter around because the kids weren't used to putting it back into their lunch boxes, and so we had a group of students, and they wanted to put catchers in the drains so that the litter then didn't go out to the sea. It's often student instigated. I think they feel pretty confident to come to us with ideas, and then we usually say, what could we do about that? And they have an idea, and then we'll either support them in some way, or we'll get a local expert in, or someone who can help them with it. So I think one of the big pushes for us to have agentic learners is because we track our students as they leave and they go through the college and they become leaders, and then what they do when they leave. For example, Sophie, who was she was one of the leaders here. She was a head girl at Kapiti College, and now she's working for our local council and coming back and feeding back into our kura, which is pretty amazing. We find that if students are enabled to be agentic learners, so, to have choice and voice, to approach the adults with something they're passionate about and, know they're going to be supported with it, then their learning is deeper. It's an authentic way of learning and a reason for learning something, rather than being top down. If an adult kind of comes in and says, oh, we think that this is important, we're going to learn about the sun in Fiji and it's snowing outside. What's the point, and how engaged are your learners really going to be? Agentic learning is really about students identifying a cause that they're interested in and finding a way to problem solve that, and having someone to support them with that. Finding the different levels of support that are needed and seeing the outcomes at the end of it, and thinking, what sort of adults do we want our children to be? What sort of jobs do we want them to have at the end of it? How do we want them to independently be able to manage themselves? All of those types of things go into our decision making, supported largely by our local curriculum that again had buy-in from the whole community. That's where we see the real magic, when you see what students do under their own steam, and they identify the problems and then they ask for the help. I think I would say try things and don't be afraid to fail, or to notice maybe that didn't work for some students. The thing about student agency is that it takes time to develop. You can't just throw an option at a child and expect them to know what to do with it. It's not fair. It's too much of a deep end, and it's too much of a deep end for you as an adult to help support them. So I'd say, try a little and often, provide small options for students to kind of have choice and voice, and build it from there. And don't be afraid to ask other adults for help, because the more adults on the ground that you have, the more adults that are there to support the children, the deeper that you can go with your own tamariki. It's really about having the support from your fellow colleagues and the leadership team, and the trust to try things, knowing that it's okay if it doesn't work, because it doesn't always work. Or you might think that you set up the perfect provocation because you want to do this amazing unit, and the children could possibly do all these projects off it, and wow, and they're just not interested, or they already know about it. So it's about, for me, again, about sort of providing the opportunities for them to share what they do know and what they don't know, and where they want to go, and then you follow along beside them and help them as much as you can.